Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Farooq Rathore. I'm an AuthorAID steward and mentor from Pakistan. And today I'm going to present a brief overview of the peer review process. Peer review is a process which is primarily designed to assess the validity, quality, and often the originality of manuscript for publication in journals. The main purpose of this whole exercise is to maintain the integrity of the science by filtering out invalid or poor quality article. And this is how the process of peer review looks like. So first of all, the researcher or the scholar writes an article. He or she then submits it to the editorial office. Now, if the article is of very poor quality or does not conform to the instruction to author, that article may be rejected or might be returned back to the author at the first step. But let's assume that the article was in a pretty good shape and the editor thought that this article is probably a good fit for the journal. Now the editor is going to send that article to certain expert in that particular subject or field. It can vary from journal to journal. At the minimum, at least two experts are asked to give their unbiased opinion, and this is known as the peer review process. But please remember, many journals, and especially in case of biomedical journal, the high-ranking biomedical journals might ask up to 4 to 5 peer reviewers to review that single manuscript. So once the manuscript is reviewed by the experts in the field, it is sent back to the editorial office, which sends back that manuscript to the author, and the author has to comply with all the questions and the comments and the revision raised by the peer reviewer or the experts. And then she or he returns back the manuscript and resubmitted it in a revised form. And once it goes through this process once, twice, and even sometimes 4 or 5 times, ultimately it is either accepted or rejected. So this is how the peer review process looks like. There are different kinds of peer reviews that you need to understand and know that, because it might be helpful for you to decide that in which journals you would like to submit your manuscript, because some people are not comfortable with one particular type of peer review and they might actually prefer another type of peer review over one kind. So for example, the single blind peer review is the one in which the author does not know the identity of the reviewer or the expert that is going to review his or her article, but the reviewer would know the identity of the submitting author, single blind. A double blind peer review, which is one of the most common form of peer reviews being employed all around the globe, at least in biomedical journals, is the one in which neither the reviewer nor the author know each other's identity. So everything is done without disclosing the identity of one party to the other. And some people say that it is probably one of the most unbiased form of peer review, because you don't know the other person, so you don't get influenced either by his name, seniority, or rank, and you give an unbiased opinion. But this is then debatable. An open peer review is the one in which the identity of the author and the reviewer is known by all participants, either at the time of submission, during, or at the completion of the review process. And a transparent peer review is sort of an next form of this open peer review, in which the review report generated by the peer reviewer or the expert is actually posted along with the published article in the final form. Now the reviewer can actually choose whether they want their name to be displayed along with the review report or not, but in a transparent peer review journal, the report will be published along with the final form of the article. Collaborative peer review is the one it is of two types. So in first type, two or more reviewers would work together to submit a single report and they would disclose it to the editorial office. Or some journals have made this kind of collaborative platform in which the author revises the manuscript under the direct or indirect supervision of one or more reviewers. And as soon as they do the revision, the reviewer is going to get notified. He or she can accept the changes and then they can move forward. Collaborative peer review process. Cascading review is the one in which you submit article to a particular journal and the article gets rejected after the peer review. So what would happen that that particular journal is going to transfer your article after your permission to another sister journal being published by the same publisher. But they're going to send the peer reviewer comments and report along with the manuscript. This is known as the cascading review. The post-publication peer review is the one which is being done on preprints and also by the F1000 faculty journal. It is the one in which the article is published after certain polishing and in some cases even in sort of like a not truly but in some sort a raw form. And then once the article is published, the peer review will start, which means that people can actually come online and give comments and review that particular manuscript. This can be done by invitation, and this can be done by any expert that is available online and has access to that particular website. So these are seven types of peer reviews that you need to understand. A question might arise that why to do peer review? Because we need to understand that, at least in the last couple of decades, peer review was definitely an academic activity. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of focus. You have to read well, and you have to write well, and you have to generate a report. But unfortunately, for many of us, this was a thankless job. So there was no sort of like compensation. There was no credit. So people often ask the question, why do we need to do peer review? So I'm going to give you some ideas and some justifications that why you need to get involved in peer review, which is a very important academic activity. So the first of all is, please remember, not everyone gets an invitation to peer review. If you are being selected as a peer reviewer by a particular journal, it is actually a testimonial to your expertise. Probably you have published enough number of articles in that particular field that you are being asked to perform peer review for a particular journal. In addition, many journals nowadays also offer you a certificate of peer review. So that is actually also a testimonial that you can put in your CV. It also helps you showcase your academic contribution. And I'll give you two quick examples. There might be more. So initially there was a website known as Publons, which is now integrated in Web of Science. And the other one is Reviewer Credit. So these websites, you can actually register online for free, and you can send them the receipts or the proof of the peer review that you have performed. And they're going to make your online digital profile in which record of each peer review is going to be saved. So whatever hard work that you do is going to be saved, and it is going to be saved in form of a digital profile, which you can actually share with the whole wider world. So for example, at least in the last decade, I have performed around 300 peer reviews. So the detail of each peer review for each journal is available on my previously Publon and now Web of Science profile. In addition, there's another website that was established a couple of years back known as Reviewer Credit. So as you can see, so I have 187 registered peer reviews on this particular website, because the process of registration of reviews on this particular website is a bit more cumbersome and difficult as compared to other websites. Another thing is that many of us, we give talks and we give like lectures. You can actually register your talks and lecture on this Reviewer Credit website as well. So it's a showcase of your digital profile. Apart from that, please remember, whenever you read articles, those articles have already been peer reviewed, and that is the work that was done in the past. So whenever you are asked to do peer review for a particular journal regarding a particular research, please remember that research is not yet published. It will be published in future. So it sort of gives you a glimpse into the future, that what is going to happen. And you actually get updated about the latest trends that are happening or being planned that are going to happen in the next couple of years to months. And in addition, it also provides you a lot of thoughts and food for thought and ideas on how people do research, how do they go about study design, how do they come up with certain smart research question, how do they write this and that. One big disclaimer, I'm not saying that you sort of like plagiarize their ideas. It's not allowed, it's unethical. I'm simply saying you get inspired by the writing of other people once you do a good peer review. And obviously, once you sort of like point out mistakes from writing of others, it is going to enhance your own writing skills as well. That you will understand, okay, these are the mistakes that I should avoid, because once someone else made that mistake, I pointed it out and it did not look nice on the piece of paper. So, it also improves your writing skill. So these are the reason for which you must engage into a peer review process whenever you get an invitation. And apart from them, I told you, peer review process used to be a thankless job. People used to invest their own time and energies without any benefit and rewards. But things are changing in the last 1 decade. So, you might actually get some kind of monetary and non-monetary benefits if you involve yourself in peer review process. I'll give you a couple of quick examples. So many journals would offer you a little bit, not like $1 million, but a little bit of monetary compensation. And this is at least common in my country, Pakistan. So you might get rupees 1 to 2,000, which is honestly like just like maybe 10 to 15 US dollars. So you will get compensation for performing peer review for a original research article. In addition, many journals would offer you vouchers or discount on the article publication fee of that particular journal if you do a peer review for that particular journal. You might get a 20% off voucher or a 50% off voucher. In addition, you might get discount on the product the publisher is publishing. So for example, Willy InterScience, whenever you review an article for them, they are going to offer you a 30% discount on all their products, journal subscription and books. Some publisher, if you peer review for their journals, are going to offer you trial access 30 to 90 days to their database. So for example, since I'm a peer reviewer for many journals, so Sage publishers, they would offer you a free access to all of their database for 60 days if you perform a peer review. It is an excellent offer. For 60 days, you are going to have access to all journals available in Sage database. Excellent offer. Then many journals have collaborated with certain organization, and they would offer you CME points for good reviews that you perform. Because again, the same thing, it is an investment of your energy and your time. So if you invest more than 30 to 40 or maybe an hour or 2 or 3 hours, you can actually get CME points. But this all depends on the journal policy, and not every journal is going to offer everything. And last but not the least, as I told you, so Reviewer Credit is a website in which you can actually redeem your credit points into rewards. And they have different reward categories which you can explore. You can get audiobooks, and you can get discount on all author publication services. You can get discount on online conferences. You can get discount on article publication, standard publication fee. You can get discount on e-learning courses. And they have a lot of gift cards available as well. Both from Amazon, Spotify, Airbnb, and many other things, in which you can actually redeem your hard-earned peer review credits into gift cards. So this is how the world is changing. And if you do some good work, if you contribute to the academia, you are going to get some kind of monetary or non-monetary benefits and reward at the end of the day. So do explore all these things. Now coming to the last part, that okay, so if you want to learn the art of peer review, so being an author is something different, and being a good peer review is totally different ball game. You need to understand these two things are separate. You might be a great, an excellent author, but you might not be an excellent or good peer reviewer. The good thing is now many online free courses and helpful websites are available which can help you learn the art and science of a good peer review. The first one that I'm going to recommend, which I like the most, is from Elsevier Researcher Academy. It is known as the Certified Peer Reviewer course. As you can see, it is a 12 module course which would take you somewhere between 4 to 6 hours depending on how quickly you can do that. But if you do that, you are not only going to get a certificate of being a certified peer reviewer, you can actually then apply for many journals which are in Elsevier's database. It's a very good course, free of cost. I would highly recommend this one. Then Reviewer Credit and Editage have joined hand together, and they're offering two kind of peer reviewer courses. The one course which is of smaller duration, probably about 1.5 hour duration, is totally free of cost. The other one which is available on upscale is actually, it would cost you around 150 US dollar, but if you can spare that time, it's a very high quality course. So you can either go for the free course which is of the basic variety, or you can go for the advanced course for which you have to pay certain amount, but it's worth it. Council of Science editor have given a very good detailed recommendation on what entails a good peer review, and what is the role and responsibility of a peer reviewer, and what he is supposed to write in the peer review report, what are the responsibilities that he or she owes to the journal, what he or she owes to the editor. So it's an excellent resource. The link is given at the end of this slide. So you can explore that, an excellent resource of Council of Science Editors. American Chemical Society has created a reviewer lab. Again, it's around 1 to 2 hour free course, and this course can be done online. You don't need any sort of like payment, and it's again a high quality course which provides you an overview what is peer review all about. So what are the ethical issues involved in peer review? So how do you prepare for peer review? How do you assess the significance and technical quality of the manuscript that's being sent to you? And how do you assess the presentation, and how readiness for publication, and how to write the actual peer review report? Again, these are the all free resources available to anyone. There are many paid courses, but I intentionally did not sort of share those courses because I know, at least for people like me based in developing countries, it becomes very challenging, if not impossible, to spend 100 to 200 US dollars for a single course. So why not to make the best use of these online free courses and resources in order to learn the art and science of peer review. Another very important source is from Willy Author Services. And as you can see, it has different components. What is peer review, how to perform a peer review, what are the prerequisites in becoming a reviewer, peer review resources, and a peer review study. So excellent resources available free of cost on Willy Author Services. Coming to the last part, that what makes a good peer review, some tips. First of all, it should be submitted in time. So nothing is more frustrating both for the editor and both for the author who are waiting for a report on the review that you delay the report. Please don't do that. I'm pretty sure you have passed through that misery in which you wait for weeks and then months and months, and you send emails, and the editor CS says it is still in the peer review process. Why? Because one of your colleagues is delaying the peer review process. So you should not be doing that. A good peer review is the one which is specific, which is unbiased, and it is given section wise with a constructive feedback. So simply saying improve your manuscript does not mean anything. Which section should I improve and how should I improve? Can you please tell me a little bit more about that? So it should be specific, unbiased, section wise, and constructive. And please, it's pretty easy to point out mistakes. Anyone can do that. As a peer reviewer and as an expert, probably I would recommend that you should be actually providing suggestion for improvement instead of only pointing out mistake and shortcomings. Anyone can point out mistakes, and experts should also guide that how to improve the quality of manuscript. And yes, I'm a non-English speaking author. I know, sometimes I have challenges with writing in English language, and English is a language of science all around the globe. I totally agree with that. But please remember, not everyone is very proficient in writing in English language. So if you go through the article and you say the science is really nice, it is robust methodology, and the person has a clear concept, the hypothesis is very strong, and the way he or she conducted the experiment is actually very ethical and in the right manner. So probably if the English language and grammar syntax is weak, please do not make a major issue out of that. Do point it out that this article needs a major revision in English language, grammar, and syntax, but at the same time, please point out the science is okay and it is written appropriately and the methodology is sound. It means a lot to many authors. You have to maintain the confidentiality because you are going to get new ideas, you are going to get a glimpse into the future. You are supposed to maintain the confidentiality of that manuscript and not to discuss with anyone else or disclose to anyone else or share the files with anyone else. And you have to avoid personal comments or criticism. Sometimes, at least in case of international reviewers, you don't know the background, the cultural background, the context in which the author has written that manuscript. So please avoid personal comments or criticism based on your own biases. Don't do that. And if you have any conflict of interest or competing interest, it is important that you declare it clearly so that the editor has a background on which he can base the final decision. It's very, very important. So the summary of the presentation is that peer review is an academic activity and a very good opportunity to contribute toward improving the quality of scientific publication all around the globe. It increases your own academic credibility, especially if you make your online digital profiles and you register every of the peer review that you do over the years. It might have some monetary and non-monetary benefits that I told you. It might be monetary compensation, a reduction in APCs, or maybe a gift card voucher and stuff like that. So please do go and explore and have fun while doing peer review. And there are many quality resources available for good training in becoming a good peer reviewer. So I would strongly encourage all of my participants to please train for this peer review and then apply as a peer reviewer. Thank you very much for your listening and your time. Now, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.